Hi there everybody, it's UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Helzie here from SlimmandStylish.stampinup.net. I hope you're all doing okay and have had a great start to the week. Today I am playing with multiple stamp sets, and the reason why is I just wanted to show you how beautiful the Hello Beautiful photopolymer stamp set is. I love this one from the mini catalogue. It has all these gorgeous grungy pieces that I feel are for background or decoration, or that's how I like to use them. It's got all these gorgeous sentiments. So I've mixed it up with beautiful moments, look, beautiful and beautiful, to create this card. So it's actually got your focus piece on there, but it's got all the background elements from Hello Beautiful on it as well. I've also used the coordinating paper that comes with a Hello Beautiful set. Now this is amazing because this paper is pretty much card size. It's not totally card size for the UK, you do have to just chop a little bit off. But it's so much easier for me because I struggle to cut into 12 by 12s. I think they're too pretty. This paper I'm using quite a lot of. I've also got my watercolour pencils and my blender on the desk because that's what I've used to colour her in here. Right, let's get started. You are going to need a piece of basic white for your card base. So this is our thick basic white. It's half a sheet of A4 cut in half and then scored in half, and I've got my card front there, and this is 10 centimeters by 14.25 centimeters, so it's just a little bit smaller and will give just a teensy tiny frame. Okay, you'll also want some scrap basic white. This is to stamp her and cut her out. So I'm just going to grab her onto a block. There she is. You're going to want to stamp her in Stays On because we're doing watercolour. Even though we're not using waters, Memento will actually sort of, smudge, and you kind of don't want that on your cards. So I just grab your Stays On ink pad and a largish block to pop her on. Now the thing when you're using Stays On, it just take a couple of seconds to dry. Not long, but just a couple of seconds longer than Memento. So don't just go straight into it. Stamp her and just give it a second before you start playing. Okay, and there's no right or wrong way to stamp her on here because, you know, you're going to be cutting her out. There she is. Stunning. If you want her to really stand out, you can pop her on the Stamper Artist and stamp her 2 or 3 times. I think that that's enough because this is quite a subtle card. All right, so the colours that I used from my watercolour pencils was I used Rich Raspberry, Melon Mambo, Calypso Coral, and then this one here is Blushing Bride. Okay, so it's just a very subtle change in colours. And then I also had, but it was a lot smaller than all the others, and look, it's dropped all the way down to the bottom of my thing. I had Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie for her hair, and I realised I should have sorted these all back out again before the video. And then I had Mossy Meadow, so where's my Mossy Meadow? There we go, for the flowers around her. Okay, so let's get started with that first. What I'm going to do is start on her arms, so I'm just going to pop a light layer of the Blushing Bride on there. Not much, bet you can hardly see that. Okay, you just need to have a little scribble of it. And then what I did with the I started off with a Melon Mambo and I went right into the edges of her dress like that, right in, and I pushed quite hard. I wanted quite a dark colour on here because I really want to show the shading with this. Okay, and I made sure I brought it through the grass as well. Okay, and then up there. Okay, Rich Raspberry, which is actually darker, I just went towards the side, but not as heavy pressed, just to give it a bit of a tone difference on the colour. So because I didn't press on it as heavy, it doesn't show as dark, but it just gives a different tone. And I just did that as a V up her back, like that. Okay. And finally, I came in with Calypso Coral over the entire dress, just to sort of fill in that colour. Now, if you've got your shades and your tones so you're happy, you can actually leave it as it is. And I was half tempted to do that because I quite liked how I got it. However, I did bring in my blending tool. So what you're going to need is a scrap piece of paper. So I'm just going to use my post-it notes to the side. Wipe over it so you've got your previous colour off it. And then in you go to all of your pink colour and you just merge it all together. Okay. And can you really see that rich raspberry? We didn't put much on. We didn't make it a focal feature, but can you see it come into the front now? It just pops, doesn't it? So it's really beautiful. And what I'm doing is I'm going up and down in lines so that I try and keep the colour to the correct place. So you can see it's still darker around the lines of the image than it is in the centre. Okay. Now, if you're unhappy with that, you can use your watercolour pencils to go over the top of it. Get some more colour in and go again. But I'm just going to wipe my blending brush out. I'm just going to come through there. Now it's on the sort of nude and I'm just going to colour in that sort of very light blushing bride we put in. And that's enough of my pinks and reds. Next up, Daffodil Delight. Now I run this entirely through her hair. Okay, and I was quite forceful with it. And then I grabbed the pumpkin pie and I just went through a few highlights, not many, just a few. So it looked like that. Okay. And then ran blending tool over the top just to mix the two into the other. And so she looked like she had flaming blonde hair. And again, just clean that back off. Okay, and finally in with the Mossy Meadow. So I wasn't really very neat with this. I just went over all of the bits at the top of the sort of grass, which actually I think is more of a heather, but I didn't want to add any more colours in. And then I just made sure I went over the stalks and the stems of it as well. Definitely caught the bits within the dress so that you had that green still showing through. Okay, so you can probably see that's the messiest part of my watercolouring. But then I just grabbed my blending tool and I just played this through. Okay, and that's sort of my end of colouring her in. So then all you want to do is you want to fussy cut it. Now what I did to start off with is I just cut straight along there. You can see on this card that that's not how that's finished. Okay, because you really just want to get some texture into the grass to make it look choppy. That's the point of the grass on this card, is that it's choppy. Okay, I'm going around her. I'm leaving just a small outline. You can chop her on the line, but if you do and then you try and go choppy on the grass at the bottom, it doesn't quite look right, I found. So I just left a very small frame around her, and then it didn't look out of place when I did it on the grass. Okay, so it's not very long just to go around this. You're not being 100% precise because end of the day you're putting it back onto white cardstock, so you're not going to notice it as much as perhaps you might with if you were putting it onto another colour. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to kind of go in to the grass blades a bit like that along the bottom, So just go in there, pull the middle bit out, get a bit closer there. Kind of a triangle too. We can go into that section just there and around it. Okay, so that's sort of what you're doing, and you can round them off so that they're not pointy and that they all finish at different levels. That's no problem at all. Okay. And that one there, I'm just going to chop those two bits off so you've got a different layer again. It just gives the grass some texture. I mean, obviously you don't have to do this, you could have left it straight if you wanted to, but I just think it looks slightly more realistic done this way. There we go. Okay, move that off and create the side of my desk looking exceedingly messy onto your card now. So this is where you're going to come in with a Hello Beautiful. Now I've already got these out because I already used them earlier to create this card. So we've got this shape here, which I'm going to be using with So Saffron. Let me just grab the ink colours. Okay. This one here, which I'm going to be using with Flirty Flamingo. This one here, which I'm going to use with Blushing Bride. And finally, this tiny little one, which I'm going to use with Mossy Meadow. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get your piece of DSP that you're going to be using. And like I said, you've got all these lovely pieces of DSP. And I'm using this one. I've actually already used it for a card, as you can see. It's on one of my midweek mini projects. So I'm just going to cut it down at about 3/4 of an inch or just under 2 centimeters. Okay, and just get a bit off there. And the reason I used this was because it was in pinks and I thought it went well with her dress. But I mean, you could have used any of these papers. I was very close to using this one over here because I've got it out on my desk with the confettis because I liked that. But I ended up going with this one. Okay, now I'm going to use the gold side over here so you can see more of it, but whichever way it looks best for you. And you're going to work out roughly where on your card you want it. So that's where I want it. And then you're going to do your colouring around it. So what I'm going to suggest to you is starting off with Blushing Bride. It's the biggest one. Okay, and just inking that up and just doing 2 splotches of it. So one sort of about there. Don't worry where she's going to go. You might not see these splotches once they're done, but at least you know that they're in a good place. Okay. And one just about there. Okay, which is then going to bring you to the Flirty Flamingo piece. Okay, so I'm just going to offset that to the side of these. Don't worry if it overlaps. Overlapping is great. Love that because it creates a texture. I'm then going to come in with the Mossy Meadow piece. This one's tiny, but you still want it because it's just going to create that sort of fun colour on there that matches with the image. Okay. Like that is fine. And then finally, your So Saffron piece. Now this, I put over the green because it didn't make much difference, and over the Flirty Flamingo, just to give some sort of background fun. Okay, and just give it some real bright colour. Now you'll notice that this colour is looking an awful lot brighter than the colour on this card, and that's totally okay. All right, that's where we're going to go across. As you can see, it's kind of being built up, but what we're going to do is we're going to pop a sheet of vellum across it, and you'll notice now it looks a lot more like this card. okay? And that's just going to make the colours a little bit more subtle. So I'm going to cut them to 10 centimetres. So it is the exact same width of the card. You can see that when I put that over there, it's going to be the same width. And what I want to do is I want it just to be about 1/2 centimetre higher than my splodges. So my splodges finished at just over 8 centimetres. So I'm going to cut this at 8.5 centimetres in that direction. Okay. And then that will go over like that. Okay. Grab your seal, and you can put this all the way along this section here where you're going to put your DSP, because then it will cover it. You always want to find somewhere that's going to cover your vellum, because when you stick it down, you can just, not obviously, but you can just see the adhesive. So because I'm going to be putting the DSP over the top, that was okay. So now I'm just going to pop some adhesive on the DSP, get it stuck down. I'm not sticking it all the way to the edge. I'm leaving it probably about 1/2 centimetre off the edge. And I'm just going to overhang it on this side as well. Okay. Some seal up on there. Stick that over. Okay. Finally, with the Flirty Flamingo, I'm going to bring in my sentiment. Now, this set has so many gorgeous sentiments at the top in some really lovely fonts. I'm using I Miss Your Face, but you could use any. Line that up, stamp it down. Okay, and then you want to bring your card base in. Burnish it. And then stick that down. I know this DSP is still overhanging. It's overhanging for a reason. It is because I want it to go over the base. Let me show you. So here is where your card finishes, and here's where it hangs over, and it goes all the way to the creased edge. So now you've got that, you can cut it off, and it overhangs the frame and goes to the base. Okay. Finally, to finish this card off, the Hello Beautiful set comes with these adhesive backed hexagons. They're in the same suite, but if you haven't got the suite and you're buying separately, they are quite good value for money. And I'm just going to grab 2 of the little ones, 1, 2, and 2 of the medium ones, 1, 2, like that, so that they go up the card. And that is this card completely finished. What do you think? It's using the Hello Beautiful stamp set and the Beautiful Moment stamp set, the Hello Beautiful paper and the Hello Beautiful adhesive hexagon backs, and also you've got the gorgeous vellum. Vellum's so handy for every project. Everything I've used today is available from SlimmandStylish.stampinup.net, and I will see you all again soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. All items that I have used on this video are available to purchase from my store, www.SlimmandStylish.stampinup.net. Alternatively, if you would like a copy of our catalogues, please send me an email to slimandstylish@live.co.uk or leave me a comment below and I'll get in touch with you. I upload regular content to this channel, so if you do enjoy watching my tutorials, please make sure that you have subscribed and rang the bell to get notifications when new videos go live. Thank you for joining me and have a lovely day.